Hey there, YouTube. So my name is Vichaj Muthumani, and I'm the guy who made that live on H1b video like almost 2 years ago. So I just wanted to make another video because people are getting, pretty excited, and there's a lot of misinformation out there on the web. So I kind of wanted to, you know, clarify some things and to put some things out there so that people have a more like level-headed approach to approaching U.S. immigration and all sorts of matters. Alright. So the first point now is there's a lot of excitement, right? Because Joe Biden is now become the big man in the United States. He's the POTUS. So since Joe Biden is the POTUS, everybody's excited. Everybody thinks like, whatever Donald Trump did, it's going to be upended, man. Joe Biden is going to come and he's going to sweep away all those regressive policies and make a difference, which might be true. And so let's all hope for the best. But one thing I noticed is Joe Biden's focus is primarily on DACA immigrants and those people who came across the border and were staying inside the country under the shadows, right? So he's more dealing with those illegal immigrants, at the moment. So they seem to be the top priority of the Democrats. As far as legal immigrants go, nobody seems to really focus on them. Sure, they're saying they're going to improve the H1b situation, increase the number of visas and all that, but that remains to be seen. And the reason I'm saying that remains to be seen is because what is introduced is just a bill. Now this bill has to go through, what do you call it, the Senate, I believe, or it will go through the House, I believe, first, right? From the House, it'll go to the Senate. It has to be voted finally before it becomes law. All things related to democracy, it's a slow process, right? So all I'm saying to our Indian folks is don't get too excited and don't make plans, thinking things are going to change immediately because of, for all we know, it may never change or it might change. So please have a more like cautious approach and don't put all your eggs in one basket thinking that things will change for the better when you never know what's going to happen. Okay, so like that's the first point. So now the second point that I want to make is this is something very serious and it has like real term consequences. Okay, so I've seen a lot of these YouTubers on YouTube, I guess mostly student YouTubers. So I believe like UDJ is one of them, and another boy called Path. They're student YouTubers, right? So they make a lot of interesting like masala content about student life in the US, all the interesting stuff and all that, which is fine and good. They are, but the problem is these guys only seem to be focusing on just the positives. Okay, those 2 years when you come for your masters, then everything is fine because you're inside the university setting and you don't have to deal with the problems that come after you graduate. So what these YouTubers fail to address is how life is going to be like once you graduate if you come from India. So if you come from India, right, once you finish your F1 and if you are lucky enough to get a H1b, you can expect to wait around 75 years to 80 years to get your like green card. And I'm sure like most of you would be dead by then. That's because you come for your masters when you're 23 years old, right? You add another 80 years to that, 100 years, who's going to be there? So that's a problem that you as an Indian is going to face, but those YouTubers never mention it. They only talk about the positive side of things. So what happens is even now a lot of Indian students who have to make a decision, right? Hey, so do I go to Australia or do I go to the US or do I go to Canada for doing my masters? They don't make an informed decision. Okay, they don't know what they're getting into. This is what I tell you: you go to Australia, your life might be smooth because let's say you finish your masters for your Australian degree, you have points counted against that, right, which you can use as a basis to apply for your permanent residency. And most people who go to Australia will get their permanent residency in probably 2 3 years, I believe. Then you start working and you have a smooth life. Same applies to Canada also, but in the United States, like your degree is good, but it doesn't count for anything, jack shit, when it comes to your immigration. So you will get on H1b and you'll be an indentured servant to your H1b masters. Okay, so the thing is you don't own your H1b. The company owns the H1b. Think of it like a title. So it's basically like a title for a car, and in this case you're the car, and the company owns your title, which is the H1b. So the H1b transfer is like they transfer the title from one, from one boss, from one like car owner, like to the next car owner. So the next company that sponsors your H1b transfers the title. It's like selling a car, right? The car gets sold to the new owner. He owns the car title. So the car doesn't own the title, right? So that's the H1b. And you'll be like this for the next 75 years. While your peers would be happily buying houses, they'll be investing. And here's the funny thing: those guys who go to Australia and Canada, they would have become citizens in those countries, right? They will be able to come with a visa called E3 visa, if you're from Australia, and they will be working in the United States with you. Okay, and here's the cool thing: if they get fired, no problem, they go back to Australia. But you, my dear friend, who was on H1b, who came to the US to do masters and such, you have. So where will you go? You go straight back to India, right? So that's something that these guys like UDJ and Part they never talk about. So I really feel sorry for the students who get misled by these guys. So I'm just telling you guys the reality. If you guys think I'm exaggerating, so I'm going to put some links, and I'm also going to put some videos. I think of some senators, both Republican and Democrat senators, who had a debate who said that if the situation for Indians is not changed in terms of green card filing based on work based visas, the wait time, which is now 100 years, is going to become 430 years in the year 2030. Nobody even mentions that. I really feel angry with these guys, with UD and Parth, okay? Come on, guys. Just because you need views, don't mislead Indian young students from middle class families who have to take a loan on their ancestral properties, come to the US, and then they get stuck in this big bad situation which is not favorable to Indians as such, as far as immigration is concerned, and they'll suffer. So please, words have consequences. I know you guys are super popular, so please use your platform for good, not to exploit Indian, boys and girls, bring them to the US and then just put them into a trap. So, like, that's the second point that I wanted to talk with all of you about. All right, and the third point is, since I'm talking about 100 years, 200 years, and all, nobody will believe me, right? I'm going to put those articles for you guys to go and check out. Yeah, let's reverse. Third point. So the third point is I did have an opportunity to interact with certain people who are inside this US immigration system, right? So one guy was on H1b. He was kind of like me, okay, on H1b. Now with this COVID-19 pandemic last year, the guy lost his job. So and then finding a job was very difficult, and he was like lamenting and saying, "Oh, what do I do? I'm screwed." Blah blah blah. I told him, dude, take a chill pill, take a flight, go back to India, call it a day. Once you go back, you figure out what to do. Okay, don't stay in the US. Don't try to do anything silly. Okay, so do your best. If you can't get a job, go back to India, and then you can figure out what things to do. And that's what exactly he did. Now the next dude I met was a student. He's like studying in the US now. He's studying for his masters in artificial intelligence. Now, for this poor chap, what has happened is he's not able to get full time offers now. We are talking about the upcoming field like artificial intelligence, right? The poor dude is actually struggling. He's like struggling to find work, and that was really sad to see. I actually wish him the best because he doesn't need a sponsorship immediately. That's because in the US, when you finish your like degree, if it's a STEM degree, they give you 3 years, I believe, to work on what is called OPT. So I hope he gets a job on the basis of that. He works and he like makes back the money to pay down his student debt, and hope things go well with him. I actually wish him a bright future. Okay, so I hope things get better this year. So that's another character I met. In all these things, there is one thing I noticed was like all these people are so fixated on their visa statuses, right? They deal with their H1Bs and with F1 to H1B. They are actually missing out on the final destination. So, what is the end goal? Your green card, man. And nobody wants to, talk about that big issue, man. It's going to take Indians, okay, 100 years to get their green cards, and most of them are going to be dead by that time. So, is this a game that you want to play? Like, you decide, man. Me personally, if you're going to use the work-based route to get a H1b visa and then a green card, I think it's really foolishness. And that was a foolishness that I was a part of, and I'm not anymore a part of that. I'm a free man, as you can see. I come to the US on a tourist visa. I come, I have a visit, I have a good time, and I go back to India, back to my base. So life is very different, and it is pretty good now. So all I'm saying is, guys, think different, and I would seriously suggest pursue Australia or pursue Canada. Okay, so these two places are really good for you. So you can get your residencies really fast. Unlike the US, and you'll be fine. The saddest thing about all this is that you guys come, do your MS, and then you have to get into this, hamster wheel for the next 100 years. While at the same time, a guy who cannot speak a single word in English, he will come based on diversity visa, and he'll be making a lot more money. He'll be able to settle down in the United States and have a kick-ass time. So that's what the situation is. So just think it through, man, and make a good decision. Okay, so that's all I had to say. So anyways, I guess that's it for now. I've got nothing else to say. So take care and think about it. Bye.